This is the audio version of the book Jailer by Acharya Abhayshekharsuri Ji Maharaj in the voice of Rahul Kapor Jain. Chapter 4. Be afraid of committing crime. Let us also reminisce about the tale of Sursundari and Amar Kumar. Sursundari was a princess while Amar Kumar was a son of the greatest and the most prestigious merchant of the city. The tale goes back to the childhood. Amar picked up 7 kodis belonging to the princess when she was asleep, bought sweetmeats with them and distributed the sweetmeats among other children, making them all happy. When Sursundari awoke, he gave her share of the sweetmeats too. She asked, "Who is hosting this feast?" "You," Amar answered truthfully and told her everything since they both shared a very close, cordial and loving relationship. Amar had imagined that Sursundari would be pleased with his fun-filled jest. It was quite the opposite. Sursundari was annoyed. She hurt Amar by uttering distressful words. "Where did you learn to commit such a theft?" Amar beseeched her not to give too much significance to such a trivial matter. The princess retorted, "Do you consider 7 kodis to be petty? I can buy a kingdom with that amount." The princess realized her mistake and repented her words. The next day, she won over Amar's heart by apologizing. Neither took this incident to heart, nor did it affect their affectionate behavior with each other. With passage of time, both entered the youth and were married to each other. Both were virtuous, spiritual, and adored each other. They had forgotten the earlier episode of 7 kodis and loved each other more than their own lives. Once, during a voyage, they reached an island which was inhabited by a demigod who used to devour humans. There, they went for a stroll in an extremely beautiful garden. The atmosphere was so pleasant and charming that Sursundari's eyes began to close, and soon she put her head on Amar's lap and fell asleep. Amar was looking down at his wife's innocent face lovingly, enraptured by her beauty and grace. Suddenly, he remembered the episode of 7 kodis. His own insult, Sursundari's ego and anger, all these filled his mind with bitterness. In just a split moment or two, he became so hard-hearted that he tied 7 kodis at the edge of Sursundari's sari, who was fast asleep, along with a note challenging her to buy a kingdom with those 7 kodis. He abandoned her and fled towards the seashore. He spun a story that a man-eater demigod had suddenly swooped down on Sursundari, snatching her away, and that he had barely managed to escape. He suggested that they should all leave the island immediately. Everyone got onto the ship as quickly as possible. The anchors were lifted and the ships set sail. The whole episode occurred in a blink of an eyelid. What was the outcome? Sursundari had to undergo terrible calamities time and again, reading about which would fill anyone's eyes with tears. Though Amar forsook Sursundari, he immediately felt a deep remorse. Not a day went by when he did not cry. His love for Sursundari was still intact, because of which he was always dejected and sad. Sursundari, on the other hand, guarded her chastity with her life and managed to save herself from most dreadful disasters. She was erudite in her knowledge of tattva. By applying consciousness to the science of karma, she realized that in each and every of her affliction, it was her own karma which were to be blamed. Therefore, she was not angered or offended by Amar. Her love for Amar was too unswerving and unshakable. After a long period of 12 years, the two united again. Nevertheless, due to Amar having abandoned her prior to their reunion, Sursundari had to undergo untold miseries over and over again. From all of the above examples, one thing is evident, that all the perpetrators are not necessarily the enemies of the persecuted. They have not acted in a certain way because of an enmity. It was always at the spur of the moment that they acted in a particular fashion, but as a result of which the afflicted soul had to bear endless sufferings. One has to believe that in order to give a gross punishment to the afflicted soul, Karmsatta had stirred up such a wish in the perpetrator's heart. Karmsatta can awaken a wish in the mind of the perpetrator at the very instant, or else it can create a wish in the mind of the perpetrator to keep bringing on protracted punishment to the afflicted. If a prisoner has to be given a rigorous punishment of 10 years, the jailer will make sure that he endures it for that long. Behind the jailer's will to see the prisoner suffer for this long, it is the court's order which is the main force. So, it is established that it is only due to the order of the inspiration of Karmasatta that any soul will execute the punishment meted out by Karmasatta either willingly or otherwise. This way, it is affirmed that the soul of the perpetrator is only a jailer, nothing more than that. In other words, a soul at the most can become a jailer, but it cannot become a judge who can independently punish another soul without the order of Karmasatta. This is also the reason why he cannot either increase or decrease the punishment even by the smallest degree. Question: all this is all right, but there is also a limit up to which one can suffer. If the pain is prolonged and there is no end in sight, how long can one tolerate provocation patiently? Counter question: how much unhappiness do you desire? Reply: none at all, we only want happiness. Counter reply: here is a story for you to ponder over. A boy filled a large syringe meant for filling colors with dirty, black and foul-smelling water and ejected it upwards towards the sky. Then he prayed to the Lord, "O Supreme Lord, let there be a shower of rose water upon me." However, instead what fell on him was the same dirty sewage water. He complained to the Lord, "You are not effective anymore. I prayed to you so much and yet only dirty water fell on me." Now what can one say to this boy? If you wanted rose water, why would you fill the syringe with filthy water? Whenever one has the time, one watches TV. Once more money is earned, one makes a trip to a water kingdom, a resort. If one sees something beautiful, one's eyes are glued to it, be it a temple. If someone says something provocative, or if something is misplaced or displaced, your temper hits the roof. There is no let up. You want to keep filling the syringe of life with sewage water and then you expect rose water? Is it fair? Alternatively, everything is blamed on God. For 5 years, I have taken a pilgrimage on the 15th day of the bright phase of the lunar month, full moon day, but my miseries have not yet alleviated. You want to keep on committing crimes and do not wish a punishment? Such a thing has never happened in the past, nor is it likely to occur in the future. Yet, just suppose the nature accepts this proposition, then you yourself will refuse. No, we will never refuse. Hold on. Can you define a crime? No. You are in denial. Most of you know what crimes are. If I start naming them, you will acknowledge the first one to be pranatipat, second mrushavad, third adattadan, and so on. There are 18 designated crimes. In short, everything prohibited by the Lord constitutes a crime, for which nature punishes you. In other words, what is considered as a crime under the law of nature is which has been prohibited and regarded as a sin by the Lord. Those who do not want a punishment have to refrain from sins altogether. Many argue that they do not consider eating after sunset a sin, and do not consider eating root vegetables to be a sin, or do not consider misconducts as sinful. Let us say, for example, you have committed a theft and you receive punishment from the court. If you turn around and say, "I do not consider a theft as a crime," will the court pardon you? No, the court will tell you what you believe or do not believe has no relevance. What is considered a crime under the law is punishable, and so it will be. In the same way, Karmasatta, which is the court of nature, commands that you and your belief have no worth. Who are you? What is the worth of your belief? What is considered a sin in the law of nature will lead to a punishment. If the government was to announce that from now on there would not be a court in the nation, no jail, no jailer, no punishment, and asked your opinion about passing such a resolution, would you agree or disagree? We would definitely not agree. Our lives would be extremely difficult and disorderly in that situation. Similarly, in case nature asks you whether the court of Karmasatta should be dissolved, would you say yes or no? No. Is this answer just lip service or is it from your heart? Most probably, it will be from your heart. At the same time, in your heart, you believe that the court of Karmasatta should be for others but not you. It is easy to think if someone harasses you, lies to you, misbehaves with you, or is unduly angry with you, he should surely be punished. But the same should not apply to you. You can justify your actions and hope to be let go easy. In fact, nature is very large-hearted. It is prepared to accept your demand that others should be punished but not I. At the same time, nature also says, whatever you demand is also demanded by your neighbor. All souls wish the same. For me, none is my own, none is alien to me. I have to heed everyone. Therefore, either no one is punished or else everyone is punished. If you were to choose one option, which one would you choose? Everyone should be punished. Do you know what choosing this option means? It means that we should reiterate in the Lord's presence every day. It means committing to Him, "O Lord, if I hurt anyone with mind, speech or body, I should definitely be punished. If I speak bitter, hurtful words, I should be punished. Otherwise, there will be disorder. Lord, if I lie, steal, commit a sin, betray someone, I should be duly punished, which means I should be punished tenfold for the smallest of misbehavior. Otherwise, there will be a total disruption of law and order in the world. Lord, if I ever look at someone else's mother, daughter, sister lustfully, I should be punished. If I ever feel anger towards anyone, I should be punished. Otherwise, there will be chaos in the world. All this should be repeated to the Lord every day. Therefore, it is established to maintain order in the universe, crime must be punished. If one does not desire a heavy punishment or the pain of misery, one must stop committing crimes and sins. Some say we are so attuned to committing sins that it has become our second nature to commit them. What if nature changes its law? In other words, if nature, instead of considering a sin as a crime, deems it as good deed and rewards it, we would not have to face any consequences. A boy who had appeared for an exam comes home and tells his mother, Mother, what if Colombo were to become the capital of India?" "Why, son? Why do you say so? Colombo is the capital of Sri Lanka." "Mother, this is the answer I gave in the exam." Look at this. The boy desires Colombo should become India's capital, as that is the answer given by him in his exam. Similarly, one does not want to leave sinning altogether and wishes that by changing its beliefs, nature should start reviewing a crime as a good deed. No problem. Nature has a generous disposition. On our saying, it will even change its belief. However, if nature were to ask you, if someone slaps you, should I consider it as good deed and reward that person? Or if someone commits a breach of trust and makes you incur financial loss, is it alright for me to reward him 10 times that amount? What will your answer be? Would you say, "No, how can that be rewarded? He should be punished"? In other words, shouldn't there be a court of Karmasatta to chastise the offender? Shouldn't there be an office to enforce the punishment? Do you now agree that the laws of nature are proper, and if we do not want a punishment, the only remedy is to stop committing crimes and sins? Let us move forward to our original subject. Let us discuss how long and to what extent should one bear someone's unending harassment. The daughter says, "I am suffering at the hands of my mother-in-law for 2 years. How much longer do I have to bear it?" For an answer to this question, let us also remember the prisoner. Till when should he suffer the misery of punishment? Till his punishment is not over. On being sentenced for 10 years by the court, the prisoner says, "My lord, not 10 years. I refuse to take that longer punishment. Reduce it to 2 years. Will the court accept the prisoner's plea? Is the sentence based on prisoner's wish or the extent of his crime? Similarly, should all miseries and oppressions that come our way be based on our wishes or our wrongdoing? A person who does not want any suffering should refrain from committing any sins at any cost. Sometimes it might be difficult to stop ourselves from sinning, however hard we try. Then one has to be prepared to take the punishment. If one wants the punishment to be limited, one also has to draw a boundary on committing sins. We do not want to restrict our crimes. We want to keep perpetrating the crimes, but we want our punishment to be confined. This is not justice. For how many years have you been watching TV? Do you plan to ever stop watching it? You have watched many serials, matches, all the scintillating news. Can you give these up? No, I want to keep watching TV till my last breath. There is a devotional song which goes thus: Bhakti karta chute mara pran, Prabhu evu mangu chu. Meaning, O Lord, my request to you is that when my soul leaves this mortal body, my mind is engrossed in praying to you. Many wish to change it to TV jota chute mara pran, Prabhu evu mangu chu. Meaning, I wish to die while watching TV. You have become impervious to disgrace. Your goodness is not put to shame in watching indecent scenes. Would you like to see the same scenes being enacted by your own wife, daughter or sister, and being watched by others intently, the way you watch other women? You wouldn't like it, would you? So understand that watching these on TV is a sin. The foremost thing to be done is to relinquish it completely. You have watched and enjoyed it enough. Now enough. But you are not endowed by the virtues that will make you stop. Do you really want to restrain your desires? I have two formulas you could try. If you have been watching a 30 to 40 minutes long episode, do not watch the last 10 minutes of it. In a one-day cricket match, do not watch the last 5 overs. That is when there is an intense contest to win, which is the most interesting part. How do we give that up? Then do not watch the first 45 overs. If you do not watch those, then how will interest to watch it be generated? Is it not better if there is no interest? Let me point out the second formula. After every 1 or 2 episodes, give up watching the next one. After making up your mind, be firm and stick to your decision at any cost. Then how will the link be maintained? You have never had a problem with that. Are you not quite used to missing episodes? During the 4 months of monsoon, whenever there are discourses based upon a scripture, each daily discourse is like an episode. Often, you leave the episode midway by giving trivial reasons as excuses. You come in late, leave early. Missing out is acceptable to you when it is at your convenience. This is no laughing matter. Watching TV is a crime. If you are not prepared to curtail watching it, be prepared to bear unlimited punishment in the future for it. Later on, crying over spilt milk will not help. Similarly, you have been in business for decades and you have been unscrupulous, involved in adulteration or betrayal in order to amass a lot of wealth right from the start. Are you now willing to give up these sinful acts? If you still intend to continue doing business in a manner which is contemptuous of what is right and honorable, Karmsatta will have no option and will be inclined to punish you accordingly. In the next life, extreme poverty will follow you like a shadow. One sees a lot of poor people who may be very astute and hardworking but are unable to earn anything at all. Their past evil deeds prevent them from gaining success. A morsel of food having come close to the mouth is snatched away. A cup after having come so close to the lip appears to slip away. These people live through a series of similar events with intense feeling of helplessness, frustration and disappointment. They have to bend backwards to please others for money and flatter people. Despite bearing a lot of insult from people, money does not come their way. They have to beg for a few pieces of chapatis. Difficulties seem almost unending. Life may end, but there is no end to their trouble. People who do not want to give up their immoral ways should keep in mind the helpless, worthless, unfortunate people who get insulted by their own kith and kin. One should remember that an increase in wealth is not going to make any difference. All the fraud, treachery, deceit committed in order to attain it will not give you luxuries, comforts or convenience. It will not provide you with even the most essential, basic things which are necessary to live by making them totally inaccessible to you till the end of your life. This should not be forgotten by anyone. If nature was unmindful of all the dirty games being played or dishonest behaviors being committed for money and was not imposing punishment for them, there would be no justice in the world. You have always had a feeling of displeasure and displayed anger for the smallest of things repeatedly over a long period of time. Is it not time to change your disposition? If you do not change it here and now, then when? One's innate nature goes where the soul goes. It does not leave you and will follow you wherever your soul travels. If you truly want to change, it will have to be done by you right here. One should stop being complacent. If this bad, intense, explosive and often destructive habit refuses to leave you, start punishing yourself for it. For example, fast without food and water the next day, or seek forgiveness from the person you were angry with by bowing down to him. Start fining yourself 1 lakh rupees each time you get angry. Do whatever you need to, but decide to give it up at any cost. Nature will tell people who do not forsake the habit of displaying anger that even she is helpless in giving up the habit of punishing them. One is deceitful and hypocritical with everyone on every occasion. There is never simple-heartedness or frankness, not with family nor friends. Even the wife, parents or gurus are not spared. There is politics everywhere. One has practiced deceit, hypocrisy for most of one's life. Is it not high time that one thinks of desisting from it? To speak bitter, hurtful words, to criticize, to harass either the brother, a colleague, the mother-in-law, the daughter-in-law, the sister-in-law, at every step, to torture someone by taking advantage of his or her weakness, thinking that person to be meek and in no condition to retaliate, to feel satisfaction and inner pleasure by watching him, her suffer mental agony, to feel elated at having an authority over others and to intimidate them. All of the above are serious crimes which we commit daily. We need to ask ourselves whether we are ready and willing to abandon them. It is easy to keep committing crimes, not want to limit them, and want only to limit punishment to oneself. One is not tired of committing crimes, but one gets tired of bearing the punishment. This is not possible. The remedy to avoid punishment is being unwilling to put up with committing crime.